Today, for the next 7 minutes, our focus is to bring peace to the Middle East with a unified field of consciousness through meditation. My name is Christine Powers. I'm going to help with the wind here. And I'm joining you from the Adirondack Mountains in upstate New York, about 2 hours south of the Canadian border, about 4 hours north of New York City. So together, let us close our eyes. Maybe you are inside an office building, or you're at a desk, or maybe you're lucky like me and you're outside. And just become present to what you are aware of. Here the sun is shining. There's a beautiful breeze, which is interfering with the microphone. Just like life, we set things up perfectly, and there was no breeze before I started. But there's a beautiful breeze. I'm hearing the leaves rustling, cars going by, the late August crickets, occasionally a cicada. And I'm very present that I'm here in the Adirondack Mountains. And I join with you in all of our hearts, wherever you may be. Maybe you are in IC Canada. IC Florida. And let's focus our attention on connecting our hearts in this beautiful grid. And focus on your surroundings and focus on each other now, those who are on this call, on this Facebook Live, and those who will be listening and watching later. And let us bring our focus to the Middle East. When I think of the Middle East, I think of desert. I think of dry. I think of heat. I think of an oasis. I think of palm trees. I think of lushness. And yet very often, most of what we see in the Western world and around the world about the Middle East is related to conflict. And there's a thirst, there's a hunger for peace. From my heart to yours, and from our heart to that area of the world, our collective heart, I invite us to focus on the abundance and the life of water, that essential element that brings life. It brings cooling to any situation. It represents the flow of energy for so many of us. So take a few deep breaths, focusing on the coolness, the flowing, the abundance, the life force of water. As we know, in many parts of the Middle East, water is a resource that is becoming challenging to find. And indeed, some of the conflict in the Middle East is from the lack of accessible water. Imagine water flowing up through springs, the water flowing through people's bodies, being cooled, all those in the Middle East, sending our intentions for the flow of the water of life, to bring ease, to be plentiful, to bring nourishment. And as we do this, know that we bring ease and this plentiful aspect and this nourishment to ourselves. We are consciously casting our energy and our internal peace for the Middle East. As we know, peace begins with ourselves, and then it emanates outward. So just keep breathing in whatever emerges for you related to water. You might imagine water flowing to the Middle East energetically, literally, a coolness, a nourishment. Everything works better when there's plenty of water and life force. And as we know, our bodies at any given time are between about 70 and 80% water. This pulsation of life force is in every human being. It's abundant in nature. It's abundant around me right now. Maybe you have a glass of water on your desk. It's one of the fibers of life, essentially necessary. So our focus today is to bring this building block and this flow into all of the Middle East, into the land, into the reservoirs, into the rivers, into the springs, into the people. May they flow with coolness. May they flow with an abundance of health and ease and life force. And know with great gratitude that your presence here right now is making a big difference right now and rippling out, flowing out into the future. As you go about your day, I invite you to contemplate water and what it means to you. And I invite you to share it with everyone else on this page, in this group, the World Miracle Peace Experiment. What does water mean to you? How does it flow in your life? How could it flow better in your life? And let us hold in our hearts the Middle East, our world, each other, and ourselves. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful day.